So now I would like to invite the second speaker, Professor Sujata Kaur. Sujata Kaur, please. Let's welcome Professor Sujata Kaur. She will talk on the topic Individualism, the essentiality of Idealism. Professor Sujata, please.
A very good afternoon and Jai Guru to everyone. My previous speaker basically has made me a little nervous. His presentation was extremely thorough, and I just pick up from where he has left two very valuable things. He has mentioned that Sri Thakur's philosophy rests on two important pillars. One is he is a fulfiller of the best, all-fulfilling ideal. And the second one is that he basically fulfills individual characteristics. So both combining, we have fulfiller the best among us. But I pick up from the second point, the point of individualism, which is an important topic of today's discussion. I begin with a very generic definition of individualism. Just Google it, you would find that individualism is defined as the quality of being individual, a belief in the importance of the individual and the virtue of self-reliance and personal independence. Alternatively, I think in very simple terms, individualism is the ism or doctrine of individual importance or self-importance. Like there are some indexes available on internet which ranks countries on the basis of their scale of individualism. And there they primarily focus or understand individualism as something where the individual is primarily concerned about his well-being and his immediate family, not much beyond that. So that's a very simplistic view of the word individualism. Our Thakur, Sri Thakur Anukul Chandra, has also talked about individualism in terms of individualistic culture. So what does he say is that by individualistic culture, which is basically embodied in the concept of individualism, what I understand is that each and every human being is born with special characteristics or qualities, and his energy and instincts remain bestowed in those characteristics. If he is not nurtured according to those characteristics or temperament, he cannot flourish, rather deteriorate. So, as my topic is individualism, essentially to idealism, I first present my case of individualism being the essentiality, the necessity. And our Thakur exactly has stressed on it. Further, he says that thus the culture that enhances the aggregate through individual specific development. That is my conception of individualistic culture. That is the idea of individualism. And if any culture tries to elevate the being and becoming of the aggregate while ruling out individual specific characteristics, the possibility of that is beyond my understanding. Because even if human beings are of same breed, they are not of same mold. If one is not nurtured according to that mold or characteristics, then I don't understand what an aggregate measure can result in. This is rough translations again by me, but what exactly it implies is that we, for ourselves also, each one of us, our existence is of supreme importance. And Sri Thakur supports that, supports the basic concept of individualism. It is very important to be aware of, to be conscious of one's existence. I can think of me, my, and I, myself, just because I can separately feel myself from everything and everyone around me. So the podium, the mic, and the people sitting in front of me, all of them are different from me. I have very strong sense of my existence. And that strong sense of existence is very important because that drives me. Ideally, if I do not have that strong sense of my existence, I'll not have any purpose to live. You can think of a person who is in coma or who is brain dead, doesn't have any purpose to live. Alternatively, if we look at animals, insects, dogs, birds, cows, all sorts of living things around us, you'd see that each and everything is driven by their sense of existence. They try to procure food. They're concerned about reproduction. So I survive, I leave my progeny, and that's how we grow. So I am growing through my progeny. So all concepts rest in the fact of my existence. Sri Thakur says, you are at the center. You are the center. Everything else exists because you exist. Everything else exists because you exist. So for me, if I do not exist, then nothing exists. This is the core of individualism. And so what drives this individualism is all of us, we want to live and grow. The concept of being and becoming. The concept of being and becoming has actually some problem if we only focus on individualism. And now I come to the concept at the context of the conflict. So, context in the sense, today's conference focusing on becoming, and of course, only a being becomes. So in this context, what conflict that we observe could be broadly divided into two levels. At the individual level, the conflict arises because of two reasons. One is lack of wisdom, and the second is complexes. As my previous speaker was saying, each one of us is actually burdened with our own problems. So who is there who can say that I don't have any problem in life? You ask anyone, will there be anyone who can confidently say that I don't have any problem in life? We all have problems in life because we make bad decisions. Is it really possible to eliminate bad decisions from life? Difficult, but not impossible. That is, bad decisions are happening because of lack of wisdom. I can see past, I can see my present, but can I see my future? Of course not. But if I have someone in my life who can see my future, will not my all problems be solved? Which profession to pursue, which college to go, which job to pick up, whom to marry, when to have child. We consult astrologers exactly for that reason. But astrologers, are they really capable of coming up with that good predictions? So Sri Thakur says that if you really can inculcate that power in yourself, then you can predict everything, predict future, even without being an astrologer. So from where that power comes? We need wisdom. Unless and until we have that wisdom, the problems in our becoming will always be there. That is, we'll be having a lot of problems. And the other aspect is that today I am somewhere, but I could have been a better person, better academic. I could be somewhere else, and I might have contributed substantially for the society, for the mankind. I could not do that because probably I was not guided properly. Nobody could tell me what is best for me, what is my potential. Who is not interested to know his or her potential, right? So lack of wisdom, that gets ourselves into a conflict between my existence and my growth. And the second thing is complexes. Complexes in our simple language is pravritti or vritti. So Sri Thakur says we call them vritti because they are vritta, like circular. So we fail to come out of it. We remain in that circular thing. So in order to come out of that, again, we need a very strong pull, which can break that circle and take us on the righteous path. So if these things are not happening, then my being can get into conflict with my becoming. This is at individual level. And at aggregate level, I really do not need to say much. Since morning, we are listening to very good people. And there was this Professor Anirban Chakraborty. He very rightly said, I really liked it a lot, that all this problem of global warming, environmental problems, are not problems of science actually, not problems of environment, problems of individuals or mankind's greed, selfishness, right? So, interests are in conflict with each other. Different groups are having different interests. They are trying to pursue that. We are so much confined by our self-interest that we really do not bother about the aggregate, what is happening at the large scale. You know, at this point of time, there are some places in India, Joshimath is collapsing. You know, Arctic Circle is losing water. You know, so many animal species are on the verge of extinction. Many are already extinct. Even mankind are expected to be extinct in another maybe 50, 70, 100 years. So why all these things are happening? Just because of a very parochial view of our life. We have been driven by individualism at the collective level for ages by different countries, right? Everybody followed their own interests. So these are the conflicts, and what is the solution? So I began with the fact that it is very important to give importance to ourselves. So this is necessity, but this is not sufficient. What is sufficient is the concept of idealism. In very simple terms, idealism is the ism or doctrine of pursuing an ideal. Sri Sri Thakur says, he is the ideal or the desired by whom we are nurtured and fulfilled towards becoming. In the presence of an ideal, man doesn't become a puppet in the hands of his environment. Driven by the attraction of his ideal, he pulls up everyone and brings in concordance between ideal, individual, and environment. Every individual grows up according to his instincts in harmony with the environment. So an ideal has the ability to bring in concordance between ideal, environment, and individual. Basically, he says that if I'm taking something from the individual, if for my existence, my environment is so important, then I must take care of my environment. I must give back as much as I take from my environment. So that is bringing in a harmony, and that basically could be the sufficient condition for becoming. Idealism at the aggregate level solves the problem because we have a common goal. So countries, individuals will not be in conflict with each other. At the individual level, ideal is the one who is the fulfiller the best. Now, I don't know what is my potential, but my ideal would know, and he would fulfill me according to my characteristics. In the beginning, I only explained the concept of individualistic culture in the eyes of Sri Sri Thakur. I give a very small example. There was one fellow who used to be very abusive, gali deta tha. And he used to come up with new abuses every day. Naya gali khud hi create karta tha. One day Sri Sri Thakur smiles at him and tells him, you are so good at coming up with new words, so you should have that, literary capacity in you, so you can be a writer. That fellow was really surprised. He never thought that one can, he never got such appreciation. He never thought that one can even think along those lines. So he was extremely inspired and he started writing. And that's how he actually pursued literature. He became a writer of whatever level. But that's how, an ideal brings in changes in an individual. He molds an individual according to his or her characteristics, and which is not possible. Since the morning, I have been hearing the term collectivism. collectivism is only possible when the aggregate still retains the characteristics of individuals. Otherwise, collectivism understood by aggregating the individuals with disregard for individualism is not actually going to solve any problem. So instead of collectivism, probably we need something which is called idealism. The idealism of Sri Sri Thakur and satsang stands for that of love all embracing, and that of life universal. In the words of Edmund Spencer, the American disciple of Sri Sri Thakur, love, and these are the words of Sri Sri Thakur. He says that love generally means love for superior. Love is like pouring water. If it is poured in a cup, it takes the shape of a cup. If in a tube, it becomes like the tube. But if it is poured in the ocean, it becomes like the ocean. So again, in the morning when I was hearing Professor Anirban Chakrabarti, I could remember I could relate certain things, right? When you merge yourself with the ocean, still retain your individuality, then what do you feel? I'm a small drop, but the ocean is in me. Sri Sri Thakur in Satyanusaran says that lose your existence in the expansion, but don't get extinguished. So here, ocean is the expansion. I retain my individuality, but still get merged with it. So that is the basic concept of individualism, essential to idealism. That's all from my side. Thank you and Jai Guru.